Thank you. So, like, I hope you had some time to go through these experiments and you have gone through those procedure and everything related to it. If at all you have questions, we can discuss it maybe at the end of the class. If not, then it's all up to you. Okay. So, now going back to those different processes and just quickly them all over. So we had seen different processes like imbibition, then the diffusion, and in diffusion we had seen simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Then osmosis. Osmosis we had again seen two different types. That is exoosmosis and endoosmosis, based on where the movement of the water molecule happens. That will be called as exoosmosis or endoosmosis. Now, the next type of transport that happens within the plants or even within the roots is the active transport. Now, active in general means it needs lot of energy, right? So this active transport is also something similar. Like whenever we spoke of diffusion or osmosis, we did not really talk about if they need energy at all. They do not, and that is why there was no talk of these energy involvement. But in active transport, there is a requirement of energy to transfer certain molecules. Why and how? That is what we are going to see. So, active transport is defined as the process that involves the movement of solute molecules from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration. Again, if you carefully pay the attention to the statement, it says from lower concentration to higher concentration, and that is when active transport happens. Diffusion happens from higher concentration to lower concentration, and that is why when it is flowing, the solute molecules are transporting across a membrane along the concentration gradient. There it does not need any energy. But when it is against the concentration gradient, that is from lower concentration to a higher concentration, that is against the gradient or against the concentration gradient, or as an obstacle, that is what it means, that will require certain external energy. Usually this energy in the cell is in the form of ATP, and that you already are aware of. So that is what is the active transfer. So during the process of active transport, a protein pump makes use of the stored energy in the form of ATP to move molecules. Now let's say, let's say this was the lower concentration and this was the higher concentration, and these molecules from the upper side has to be moved towards downside. You can also see the direction of the arrow from where it is moving from where to where. So if these three molecules, they have to be moved down across this membrane through this protein pump, it will require energy because it is flowing against the concentration gradient. Usually how these things happens is, these solute molecules, they will get entrapped within the protein cavity. So let's say this yellow thing that you see here is either a single protein or combination of proteins, and that is creating a kind of cavity which will take this molecule inside and release it outside. But for this to happen, it must break bonds and form bonds, right? That way it will require that energy which can be conserved or which can be completely dissipated in this whole process. But ultimately this protein pump will need certain energy to transfer this molecule against the concentration gradient, and that's what is active transport. And if this movement have been from this side, that is the lower side to upper side, it would have been simple diffusion, right? That is the along the concentration gradient, that is simple diffusion. Opposite to simple diffusion, which will need energy from lower concentration to higher concentration, that is against the concentration gradient, and that is active transport. uh, Now, the example is the uptake of glucose in the intestine of the human body, and also the uptake of minerals and ions from the root hair cell of the plant. These are the examples of active transport. Now, let's say over the time, or after the let's say the digestion has happened, you have eaten the food, digestion has happened, whatever amount is already been absorbed through the small intestine or part of small intestine, the rest of the food, it goes down the intestinal path, and that remaining amount of glucose will face a situation where towards the end of intestine there will be lower concentration of glucose inside the intestine and higher concentration outside the intestine, that is in the blood capillaries which are connected to intestine. So in that case, usually glucose is uptaken from this intestinal lumen through this into these blood capillaries in the vicinity of the intestine by the process of active transport. And because it is against the concentration gradient, that will need some energy, that is why it is active transport. Otherwise it will be what we call as simple diffusion process. The second example that is mentioned there is the uptake of minerals into the root hair cell, minerals or ions or all of those molecules. Now, why it has to be active transport? Can someone explain this? Why uptake of minerals or ions has to be active transport?
Because of gravity.
Because of gravity.
You're saying the transportation from the roots into the plant body, right? Hello.
Yeah.
From the soil into the plant, from the soil into the roots, or from the roots into the plant?
Uh, Now, I will ask you to read again, miss, not in a way that you haven't read it, but you will answer your own question. Uptake of minerals into root hair cells. So, from where to where?
From the soil to the root.
Correct. Right? So, why is it an example of active transport? Anyone? Wake up, people. Someone should speak something.
Because it uses energy.
Yeah, that is true. But then why it uses energy? Why it cannot be a diffusion?
Because it needs to suck it out of the place now. And it won't pick up all the minerals that that are present in the soil. It'll take only those that are, that it needs.
Not really.
So because it's against the concentration gradient, like
Yeah,
it's against it, so you need something. You need more energy when you're going against something. No,
that is true.
compare it with something.
Correct. What you are saying is right. But then why? Why it is against the? How is that concentration gradient established? Janvi?
I don't know.
Okay. Vikram?
So there's probably a lower concentration of minerals inside the root.
Inside the root is lower concentration. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
So what is the difference between uptake and intake? पहले आप ये बताओ.
Uptake and intake is same.
Okay.
Like if I say I am uptaking the food or I am intaking the food or I am eating the food, it's all same because I'm all putting it inside my body. That way.
So maybe why it needs active transport is because, see, from uptake of glucose in the intestine of the human body, the intestinal wall, it has what's it called? I think it has villi or something,
Correct?
and villi are cells, I guess, like that. It's a kind of tissue, so it's made of cells,
Yes,
and so cells have a membrane,
right,
and the membrane is semi-permeable,
correct.
and so maybe certain components of the stuff of glucose aren't easily permeable.
Not really. If it is permeable, then it is permeable throughout. So some molecules are permeable and some molecules are not permeable of glucose only. That is
No, no, no. I meant like then maybe glucose is also semi-permeable for that membrane, if you get what I mean.
glucose is also semi-permeable for that.
For with respect to that membrane.
That is like when you say glucose is semi-permeable means either it can go through that membrane or it cannot go through it at all. Only two situations.
मतलब,
Semi-permeable does not mean if you are like misunderstanding that part. Semi-permeable does not mean some of the glucose molecule can pass through and some of the molecules cannot. That is not
अच्छा.
semi-permeable. Semi-permeable means it will allow, let's say there is glucose, fructose, lactose, and it only allows glucose and not allow the fructose and lactose.
Mm.
All the glucose molecule will. So this selective, what we call it, and then selectively permeable for glucose.
Okay.
That way, molecule sizes they are different, right? So that way, that's why we call it selectively permeable or semi-permeable.
Mm.
Means that means they are permeable to X category of molecules and not the Y category. That way. So okay, if no one, anyone wants to try it before I say it, Anang,
No ideas.
Tanisha.
Not sure, sir.
Okay, so when we say that uptake of minerals, uh,
ठीक है देख.
okay, so when we say uptake of minerals into the root hair cell is an active transport, what that means is like if it is active process, active transport process, it is against the concentration gradient and it needs energy. That is the fact. Now, when we say uptake is inside or the minerals, they are being taken from soil inside the roots, right? So if it has to be against the concentration gradient, that means inside the root cell, that has to be already higher level of minerals compared to the soil. In that situation only, it will become the active process. So I'll just take a minute to explain this on the board because that will make it more clear. So imagine now, let's say this is the root part. Yeah. Now I'm not drawing completely. So this is stem or the shoot, right above, and this is root. And what I have drawn is one of the root hair structure. Now, if this part is within the soil and there will be certain molecules of minerals. So when these are present outside and inside if they are less, it can simply be diffusion process. But what we are talking is active transport. That means inside the root hair, there are already quite a few mineral molecules. So when these molecules from outside, that is from the soil, has to go inside the root hair cell, this transport process will be active because from lower concentration to higher concentration of minerals, it will need energy to be transported across this wall of the root hair, and that is why it is uh, a active transport process. Now you might wonder, where is this higher concentration accumulating inside the root hair cell? So that is over the time, like since the plant starts growing, it will keep accumulating because it will need lot of minerals and so on. It will keep accumulating inside, and that is where the concentration gradient is established when the root hair is old enough. When the root hair had just started growing, or rather the plant had just started growing, like started to establish the root, make the root hair cells and so on. In that case, it will be diffusion, because earlier when the plant is very new or very young, then in that case, root hair will not have any minerals inside. So soil will have more minerals, obviously. So that will be diffusion. But in later times when the tree has grown old, the root hair will always have lot of mineral components present inside the root hair cell, and so it will be the movement of this mineral from soil to inside of the root hair will be an active transport process. So I hope that part is clear. And same is the case with the intestine, like we discussed earlier. So that way, that is the active transport process, and that's why these two examples are given here. Again, when we say that minerals, they are getting absorbed by the root hair cells, or they are uptaken by the root hair cells by the active transport process, does not mean that is the only process which will take in the minerals. That is the maximum of the process. Let's say 90% of the minerals, they get absorbed inside the plant root hair by active transport. There will be some percentage where the diffusion will still happen, because the new root hair formation keeps on happening, right? Within those new root hair, there the concentration of those minerals within those root hair cells may not be high, so it will be a process of diffusion. I hope you are understanding this difference. We are not exclusively talking of that root hair uptake of minerals happens only because of active transport. So that is not the case. So and now, where does this active transport process gets energy from? It uses the energy which is stored inside the cell to move the particle against the concentration gradient. But where is it stored? You all know that mitochondria is present, which generates a, which is the form of the energy present inside the plant cells, or we can call it also chemical energy, because it is in the form of ATP. So that is the energy which this protein pump will utilize to transport the molecules. In plant cells, it takes place in the root cells by absorbing the water as well as mineral. Water absorption is happening because of the suction force, and of course because of the osmosis. But the mineral absorption can happen by diffusion when the root hair is new, and over the time it will start happening by this active transport mechanism. So active transport always leads to the accumulation of molecules or the ions towards one side of the membrane. And that is quite obvious, because active transport will not have any limit as such. So in earlier cases, like for example, diffusion or osmosis, we have seen until the equilibrium is achieved, the process does not stop, whether it's of diffusion or whether it's of osmosis. Again, I'll go back here in these two diagrams. Where is it? Yeah, here you can clearly see, until and unless all these molecules, they are diffused equally in all over this beaker, for that matter, that is the equilibrium stage, that is diffusion. In case of osmosis also, until there is equal concentration or equal tonicity on the both compartment of the membranes or across the membrane, until that semi-permeable, the osmosis process will keep on happening. But that is not the case with active transport. This active transport will keep on happening until and unless there is exhaustion of energy, which is again not the case, or until and unless there is exhaustion of the minerals from the area, right? So that is the only way when this processes are like stop. The active transport process will stop only when there is no energy available anymore for this process to happen, or what we say, there are no minerals to be transported across the membrane. So otherwise there is no equilibrium like situation with active transport, because it will always lead to the accumulation of molecules or ions towards one side of the membrane. And that is the fact about uh, these active transport process. It is carried out by membrane protein. Now, like I mentioned, this yellow thing that is shown in this diagram is nothing but a membrane protein. This pink thing is a membrane. Within this membrane, the proteins are embedded, which are doing the function of this transport or active transport. So these are the membrane proteins, and they will transport the substance from lower concentration to higher concentration. So that is the active transport process. Now, where all it is involved as such, so certain nutrients, for example nitrates, sulfates, potassium, zinc, manganese, all of these, they cannot pass through the cell membrane of the root cell easily. So easily in the sense, the pore size can be pore size or the molecule size can be different or bigger than the pore size of the membrane, and so on. So there are several such factors, or the concentration is not gradient is not like steep enough to allow the movement. All of these factors will contribute to the process of active transport. So when these molecules, they are not allowed to pass through the cell membrane, they will be taken up by the process of active transport. And this is majorly because their concentration is higher already inside the root cell and is maintained so to develop the osmotic pressure. One of the major reason why the concentration of the mineral stays higher, apart from the active transport always happening, is also the water level is also maintained. So if you know the word what is called as homeostasis in our body, also in human body, like let's say if we eat lot of protein, then urine usually turns little yellowish. The reason being, more protein, more breakdown of these proteins into urochrome, more urochrome will be passed into urine, so urine turns yellow. So that is the simple mechanism. But at the same time, if you drink a lot of water, then water will also get excreted along with the urine. So then you may not see that yellow color of the urine at that time, because it will kind of dilute that urochrome within your body. So it's the similar analogy here also. If there are, let's say, 10 molecules of mineral present inside, it will always need some molecules of water to be there to dissolve them, to keep them dissolved in a dissolved state inside the root cell. And that way the osmotic pressure is built up, right? And that is why like this is one of the major reason why their concentration is higher inside the root cell, because it wants to the cell, root hair cell will want to maintain the osmotic pressure for absorbing more and more water. You remember now, you if we go back to this process of osmosis, uh, the movement of water happens from lower concentration of solute to higher concentration of solute, that is from dilute solution to the concentrated solution. So dilute solution is present outside in the soil, and the concentrated solution is present inside the root hair cells. So osmosis will also happen in the same direction, active transport will also happen in the same direction. So that way it is easier to absorb the water as well as the minerals, and that is why the osmotic pressure there is very, very important. And of course, this way the concentration gradient of this ion is opposite to that of diffusion. That is very obvious. Active transport is the process opposite to diffusion, but with the help of energy. And to obtain these ions, these ions will have to forcibly carried inward from the region of lower concentration, that is outside of the soil, to the area of higher concentration, that is inside the root hair cell, and this will require energy which is provided by the cell in the form of ATP. Okay, any question in the active transport process? I hope that is clear. There is something called as passive transport as well, which is opposite of active transport, but that is nothing but your diffusion. But we don't use that terminology as such, at least in this context. So, but passive transport does exist otherwise. So, for example, whenever you take a medicine, some of the medicine they are absorbed by the process of passive transport through the intestinal membrane, or some of the like drug molecules they are absorbed by the active transport as well, or even some are transported by facilitated diffusion. Depends on what type of molecule it is. Okay, so if there are no question, I was thinking we can have a quiz, or we can, let me see how much is this. Not a good idea to start here. Okay, let's do a quiz instead of going to turgidity and flaccidity. So. And now I will ask you people question. 10th grade. People are disappearing. Okay, someone first question. This is based on the topics that we have seen, and if it is out of the topic, then we will skip that question. Who would like to go first? Arav. Mr. Arav, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you read first question and can you also answer?
Which of the following is not found in a plant cell?
Which one
I
is
think it's mitochondria.
okay? And why do you think so?
Because I know that chloroplast and cell wall are there. Centriole, I'm pretty sure is there as well. So mitochondria was on the only left.
Okay, let's check with others. Manya,
So I think it's the centriole.
okay. You think or you know?
I think.
Advai, Mr. Advai. Advai is sleeping. Yeah.
No, sir, I was awake, but then I couldn't hear you for a while.
What do you think is the answer?
Not.
Okay, anyone? Quick.
Centriole.
Sorry?
Centriole.
Centriole. So cellulose cell wall, that is the characteristic feature of the plant cell. Mitochondria has to be there because it will produce energy. Chloroplast, again plant cell will require it for the chlorophyll pigment. 1 minute, huh, people? What happened, Kavya? Oops. Okay, and so chloroplast will also be there, which is the main requirement for plants to produce photosynthesis. Centriole is not required. Instead, there is something else. What is it? Does anyone know? Aditya?
Centrosome, I think.
No. Centrosome is the actual two centrioles together, right? So
Yeah.
centrioles are not there, but there is something similar. Starts with A. Okay, homework for you people. You will check. I already give you hint. You can Google it out now. The next question. I hope, yeah. Next question to Tanisha.
What is a similarity between a red blood cell and a root hair cell?
What do you think it is?
The So can I think for like few seconds and I'll tell you answer?
Okay.
So, in place of things, substitute, use Google.
Sorry?
I'm not
Yeah.
Googling, sir. I'm reading the question, options again. I think it's the first one.
Function in the transport of oxygen. Okay. I guess we can even check, no? Both function in the transport of oxygen.
For that, you have to tick the.
Yeah. So what is the similarity between red blood cell and root hair cell? Both function in the transport of oxygen. They contain a nucleus. Obviously, RBCs, they don't have nucleus, right? So that option is gone. Both cells, they have high surface area to volume ratio. This could be one possibility. Parts of the cell forms a long and narrow protrusion. Parts of the cell in RBCs, there is no protrusion. So root hair cells, they have a protrusion, that hair-like outgrowth. That is what is protrusion, right? So this is again not an option. So the now remaining option is both functions in the transport of oxygen. Does a root hair transport oxygen?
So it does transport minerals.
Now this is specifically talking of oxygen.
Yeah. But see, we know, no, does RBCs don't contain nucleus, or do they? I remember one of the major blood cell types does not, but I think it's white blood cells who don't contain nucleus.
No. White blood cells, they have nucleus.
How can I trust you? Maybe you're fooling me.
No, I'm not. At least not now.
Okay, chalo, मान लिया. They have nucleus. Okay, yeah.
Have a
Yeah,
nucleus.
sorry, RBC doesn't have nucleus. So surface area to volume ratio. Mm, surface area to volume ratio. Yes, of course, because that's most conducive to their work.
And this is what we had seen in the characteristics of the root. The surface area was one of the characteristic of having the root hair, right? So third option is the right one. Yeah, I hope
Click करिए.
Sorry?
Click.
I don't know if it says correct, submit my answer. No, but that will go to the end, no? What is this? Yeah, it's correct. You see?
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay, third question. Now, which of the following structures are present only in a plant cell? I guess we should skip this question. They are more like this question specifically. We can just try it any which ways. Which are present only in plant cell?
So correct me if I'm wrong, but structure number 1 appears to be a vacuole.
This is a vacuole, yeah.
No, structure number 1.
One is, yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah, this one. I'm looking at this one and I'm saying, yeah, correct.
So structure, yes, vacuole is present in animal cells as well. The third one appears to be it appears to have some sort of nucleus.
It is
The third structure. Okay, it is the nucleus. Both animal and plant cells have a nucleus, so can't be third. So it's second. It's second. Second is a cell wall.
So 1, 2, 3.
1, 3, and 4.
So that is this one. Shall I click? Anyone else has other opinion?
Sir. Just go open na 1 minute.
ऊपर, okay, मैं ऊपर गया अभी.
I would say, sir, 1, 2, and 4. Because 3 is the nucleus, right? It's present in the animal cell also.
An animal cell can function without a vacuole, but cannot function without a nucleus.
Yeah, so 1, 2, and 4.
See the uniqueness. Yeah, what's the unique feature of a plant cell? That's what they're asking.
Present only in plant.
Large vacuole.
अरे तो
1, 2 and 4.
उसने साइज थोड़ी ना पूछी है, वो तो
1, 2 and 4. Look at
नहीं.
the options. Look
2
at
and
the options.
4.
अरे I am telling you
An
ना, it's
option.
see, let's see. देख, first one is vacuole. Guys, tell me if I'm wrong. First one is vacuole.
Yes.
Second one is a cell wall.
Mm-hmm.
Third one is a nucleus. And चौथा
Yeah.
one is some random organelle जिसको जो मैं नहीं जानता.
Chloroplast, bro.
हाँ, जो भी होगा ना, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. देखो, chloroplast. See, chloroplast, we don't know whether it's chloroplast or not. It could also be something, maybe the mitochondria.
Wait.
The,
Look at this. No, third one is the nucleus.
huh,
Both animal cell and plant cell, both of them have nucleus. So
so
whatever
third,
rest option is there, so put that. No.
So
you're saying that you're simply eliminating the one that you're simply eliminating one of the common things, na?
Sir, try both. Okay, just try
Sir,
both.
sir, I am telling you, na, sir. I am,
The
sir.
option B.
I am Bobby Fischer, sir. You don't worry.
Sir, try 1, 2 and 4, not the third one. Try 1, 2,
Sir,
4. It's
sir,
not 1, 2, 4.
if Meher is wrong, then you have to go to F.
what we have to do?
If Meher is wrong, her internal assessments are automatically 0.
Hey,
And if
what? No.
and if I am wrong, my internal assessment is 0.
I don't care about your
ठीक है,
internal
देखते हैं,
assessment.
sir.
That's not debate any which way. So which one you want me to click first?
1, 2 and 4, sir.
Second वाला.
Yeah, the
Second
second one.
जब गलत निकलेगा तब तो मुझे बहुत मजा आएगी.
Correct.
Say 2.
No, but here I can explain. See, the question is which are present only in plant cell. Nucleus is present in animal cell as well. This cell wall is not present. Vacuoles, they are present, but they are very small. Here they are showing a big vacuole which is not present in the animal cell. And this is, as you mentioned, is actually a chloroplast. It can't be mitochondria. Otherwise, it will have that zigzag structure. Right? So you try to identify. I know that they have not really clearly shown this particular part, but now this is a very minute difference as such, right? But then we have to be so logical there that this large vacuole is only present in plant cell. Otherwise, vacuoles in animal cell, they are small. So if this would have been a small vacuole, then you can say, okay, yeah, both cells, they have vacuoles. But that way, this is the correct option. Okay.
So they're missing a. What's the third thing again? What's the third thing? They're missing a nucleus.
Missing the nucleus in the sense,
The
it's
third one is the nucleus.
Oh. So I've been reading the question backwards. Oh.
exactly. So these are the tricky type of questions because kind of, the question has to be read like maybe 10 times. That's what I feel sometimes. Okay. So I hope this part is clear. We'll just take maybe
Sir,
one.
can you cut the ad?
I don't know how, yeah, this stupid thing. Yeah, gone. Okay, so an experiment was set up as shown. After an hour, the liquid level in the Thistle funnel, now this is the type of Thistle funnel, yeah, increased. Which of the following shown is possible content in the Thistle funnel at the start of the experiment? Yeah.
So what is the crystal funnel?
It's just a type of funnel which will allow the movement. At the end of this Thistle funnel, you have a membrane to be attached. So that is partially permeable or semi-permeable membrane. So that is the way this Thistle funnel is. Now at the end, so which of the following shows possible contents in the Thistle funnel at the start? Now, if the level is increasing, you have to think from that perspective, what could be the content inside? What do you think? Now you have to think in terms of osmosis is happening, diffusion is happening, or what exactly is happening. And then you have to answer accordingly. If you want to read question once more, an experiment was shown, is shown here. After an hour, the liquid level inside the Thistle funnel increased, right? That means water is moving inside. right? If the water is moving inside, if this is partially permeable membrane, what should be the case?
Osmosis.
So if osmosis is happening, then water is moving inside. So what should be the concentration of the fluid inside and outside? Osmosis happens in which direction?
Less to more.
Less solute concentration to more solute concentration, right? That is dilute solution to concentrated solution. So what should be outside?
Dilute, something like distilled water.
So then,
No. Outside should be something like distilled water.
So the
that
fourth one.
is
Fourth one.
this fourth one.
Yes.
What others think? I hope people have not gone running away from the class. Bhavya,
Yes, sir.
what do you think?
I have no clue about this one.
Think.
So could you share the question again?
Okay, so there is this Thistral funnel. It is attached with this partially permeable membrane, and after an hour, the level of the liquid inside the funnel is increased. And they are asking then what could be the possible solutions present inside of the funnel and outside of the funnel. Karuna,
So can you show all the options again?
here are they?
Yes, I think it's the fourth one. Is the beaker has only water.
Okay. Mahi,
I think it's the fourth one.
first one.
Fourth one.
Fourth one. Okay, so I will try to click on this. Let's say check majority. It's correct. So now Nandan will explain why. Because you said that first.
Well, because it's sucrose is basically a type of sugar, I think. Right?
Yes, correct. Sucrose is your regular sugar that you eat at home. That is sucrose.
Yeah, so it sucks water. I forget what the property is called.
Okay, so shall I try then? So what is happening is if the inside solution is concentrated and outside solution is dilute, in that case, water will move inside. Why? Because this is partially permeable membrane. It will not allow the solute to come out, right? It will only allow the water molecules or solvent molecule to move in this case. So that way, the water from outside will start moving inside, and that is why you see a water level increase after an hour. So that is the most logical answer. Now, if you try to fit otherwise, so if it is first option, that is 10% sucrose on both sides, inside as well as outside, there will be no movement. Like we spoke of that net movement, right? Tonicity is the same, there will be no movement of water. Now, if we keep distilled water inside and 5% sucrose solution in the beaker, the water will move outside. So water level inside the funnel should ideally decrease. Now, if the Thistral funnel has 5% sucrose, that is inside, and outside is 10% sucrose, in that case also water will move from inside to outside, because this is again a partially permeable membrane. It will only allow the movement of water, and this is dilute solution. Outside is concentrated solution in the third case, right? So that way water level should again decrease. So the only possible option is Thistral funnel, where by 5% sucrose is present inside. Outside there is distilled water. So the distilled water from the beaker will move inside and the water level will increase. So these are the kind of critical questions that are usually being asked. Now here you really need to think about what is osmosis, what is diffusion, what all can happen, and all of those parts. So these are the, I just wanted to give you some idea of these type of questions. Okay, so we can stop here.